Hi there. Today we're talking about a major headache for advisors and wholesalers. It's called the track record gap. Have you ever seen a brand new ETF that looks amazing, but it only launched 6 months ago? You find this brand new ETF that looks perfect. The strategy is great, the fees are low, but only launched late last year. How do you know if it's actually safe? You can't wait 3 years for a track record, and you definitely don't want to be the guinea pig when the next market crash hits. As an advisor, if you're only looking at performance without the trading history, you're flying blind. You don't know how it would have handled the 2020 COVID crash or the 2008 financial crisis because it didn't exist yet. A new ETF looks amazing because of its potential, not because of its past. Advisors can review how it picks stocks, in essence, what's behind the strategy, the manager's reputation, or how it's packaged, such that it has a lower cost or more tax efficient. But what's the most important part of the ETF is its exposure, what it actually owns. If some of the newer thematic ETFs are only about 2.5 years old, that's not enough data to make a big decision for a client. So, how do we see the future? We build a financial time machine. I'm going to show you how to use a 20-year shortcut to see the future of a new fund by decoding its DNA. Academics have been working on this for decades. They use something called factor models. The seminal papers by Eugene Fama and Ken French, the first is the cross-section expected stock returns and their follow, common risk factors in the returns on stock and bonds. It's a holy grail of papers in this field. And the founder of my previous firm, Barra, of MSCI Barra, none other than Barr Rosenberg, who authored The Prediction of Systematic and Specific Risk in Common Stocks 20 years earlier. Barr Rosenberg showed us how to identify and use systematic factors to predict risk. Fama and French demonstrated that factors like a company's size or its value are the building blocks of expected returns. It's how we arrive at the exposures that I referred to earlier. Is this manufactured history reliable? Let's look at the pros and cons. For the pros, it lets you do a stress test. You can see how a fund born in 2025 would have behaved in 2008. It helps you bridge a gap when there's no long track record to look at. Now, for the cons, well, it assumes the fund manager doesn't change the recipe. If the manager starts doing something totally different tomorrow, the old time machine, that data won't match up. Now, it's a useful approximation, not a perfect guarantee. This is where Finominal changes the game for wholesalers or advisors. Using Finominal's proprietary factor model, we can take a brand new fund, like one of those ETFs launched recently, and pull out its DNA or exposures. Let's jump in. Let's go to Fund Explorer, and we'll filter for the equity asset class. We'll choose ETF as the fund type, and let's reduce it further by country and choose US. And let's sort this by launch date. Okay, let's pick something late last year, and let's click on this Virtus ETF. VUS is the ticker. Launch on December 2025. Clicking here will launch the fund analyzer tool, and we go to the overview. We see the suggested benchmark is MSCI ACWI, and in the performance benchmarking chart, we can see that the performance moves in lockstep. Let's move to the risk analytics tab, and let's focus on drawdowns and scenario analysis. And then let's hit the replicated returns button for both charts. Now, Finominal takes those current exposures and plays them back in time, all the way to 2004. Now, even though the actual fund is new, we can see a simulated version of how it would have moved in lockstep with the market during these past downturns. As a wholesaler, you can now tell an advisor or an advisor to your investor, I know this fund is new, but here is how its strategy would have survived the last 20 years. The key takeaway is don't guess. Use Finominal to turn back the clock and visualize it with your client.
Great Scott!
Thank you for exploring this use case with me. Please subscribe as I explore more workflows that may help with your client narratives. Send me a note if you're interested in the papers or looking to experiment with something on the platform. I'm John Regino, Phenomenal. See you again soon.